Hello, everyone. This is Asa Leveaux, and you are now tuned in to Icon Conversations. Again, I am your host, Asa Leveaux, and I am thrilled to be here. This is our very first interview with this podcast, Icon Conversations. So there are some things that I understand I'm just going to need to do. One of those is to let you understand and let you in on why in the entire world would I start a podcast called Icon Conversations. Well, here's the thing. I have been an entrepreneur since I was 22, and I am turning 40 very soon. So I've been around business owners, entrepreneurs for quite some time. And in that journey, in that process, I have met so many dope individuals with many different revenue goals, so many revenue realities that because the thing about it is I meet people in different chapters of their journey. So sometimes I can meet someone who is just getting started, but they've been doing a particular thing for 30 years in the corporate world. Or I meet someone who has been in their particular industry as an entrepreneur for the last 10 and they're crushing it. Things are really aligning for them. And the thing about it is, I'm like, how can I have a podcast that services all or the majority of those people that I find amazing, that I align with, that I believe in, that may not fit in any of my other shows. So if you are aware of me, Asa Leveaux, you may know that I do have a podcast show out there called the Entrepreneur Show. You may know that I have a show called Seven Figure Conversations with Asa Leveaux as well. And so this is what allows me to bridge all of those conversations together effortlessly and seamlessly to support those individuals that I really think are dope. I just do. I think they're dope. And Icon Conversations is definitely under the umbrella of House of Icons, our agency. And for those of you who are watching this live in Icon Nation, I see you. Shout out to Icon Nation. Shout out to all the money cousins in the room at this moment. If you desire to be one of those individuals that is able to watch Icon Conversations live, please go to www.iconnation.co today, and we can make that happen for you. But remember, though, that information is going to be in the show notes. So don't fret. There's no reason to get beside yourself. It's going to be there, I promise. So why are we here today? We are here to talk about corporate wellness and to meet someone who is definitely becoming iconic in that corporate wellness space. So without further ado, I would love you to be introduced to Luke Lintott. Hello, Luke.
Hello, Asa. Thank you so much for having me on your show. And my name is Luke, as Asa mentioned, Luke Lintott. I coach seekers of healing to get healthy and loved and direct corporate wellness programs that work. And I've been working with Asa now for about 2 years, and it has been a blast. I'm doing what I love, loving what I do.
Awesome to hear that. And I desire to start this in a way that I don't usually start conversations. And the best way to do that in this moment is this question, Luke. I would like to know, what makes you believe that corporate wellness is where you should be?
So for me, it's grounded in my own experience with wellness, Asa. So I went through a really dark time back in many years ago before I found yoga, hypnosis, meditation, beyond, where I was unproductive, unhappy, and unhealthy. Those three things go together, right? And I thought that working harder meant that things would get better, not realizing that I really needed to reprogram, rethink, redo how I was doing things in my life, my body, and also in the workplace, right? I know that I've been in good workplaces, like when I was at Helix Charter High School, where we had a mindfulness program. I spearheaded that program, and I knew that after I saw the results with my ninth grade girls after just 4 weeks of yoga right before COVID hit, and they had lower rates of hopelessness, higher rates of belief in self, I knew that there was something up with this. This was literally right before lockdown hit, right? I gave them the surveys, and then they closed the school the next day. And it really got me thinking, okay, if we applied this similar format, but even better, right? We go deeper than maybe just yoga. We do wellness, right? We do hypnosis, meditation, even retreats, right? This could have a profound impact, which I have seen with my clients that I've worked with, which I've seen with myself, right? Which I've seen, it started with me, of course, with my own healing journey and doing hypnosis and radically loving and accepting myself, and also literally increasing my reading comprehension, improving my belief in self in the great work that I do as a consultant, and also as a yoga teacher, also as a personal trainer as I work with both businesses and individuals.
So you talked about your healing journey, and something that I have seen over these few years of knowing you is that you were able to take your journey to, I believe, Thailand. And I would love to know because I've heard some wonderful, wonderful and meaningful things about basically healing in Thailand, healing in Southern Asia. And I would love to know, what did you experience in Thailand that assisted you in your healing journey?
So I'm an intuitive, I'm a creative, I'm an empath, and I can feel the energy frequency of the people that I'm around, of the country that I am in. When I landed in Bali, where it's majority Hindu, and I was surrounded by people that believe in reincarnation, people that are collective, that desire to help each other just for the sake of helping each other, I really noticed a healing of self, right? And it wasn't just me healing self, but also sharing that with those that are following me, with my clients, since I was coaching, consulting with my clients abroad. I even ran a boot camp while I was in Thailand. So really during that time, my healing journey just went even deeper, right? Because I was able to be outside of this American culture and be even more authentic, more true to who I am. Because at the end of the day, especially for my fellow entrepreneurs out there, it's about the impact, right? We, of course, need to have income. We need those things to survive. But when your intentions are pure, as is the case now in what I do, and even more when I was abroad, even more when I'm having fun and I'm traveling, as I definitely make a requirement, I notice that I'm able to have an even bigger impact when I'm connected with that purpose, when I'm in some sense separated from my old identity, right? And so I know now, as I've been mentioning to you, Asa, I'm in that reintegration phase. I returned to the United States a little bit less than 3 months ago, but I'm still now integrating the East with the West in the great work that I'm doing and bringing that to companies, since we're really in a paradigm shift now in the United States, where the collective responsibility is key to success, right? And we're seeing people invest in socially responsible companies. We're seeing workers take jobs that pay them less money because that company values mental health. We're seeing a real big shift where working more is not necessarily better, right? Because the burnout rates are higher than they've ever been in US history and recorded history. So now there's a really beautiful, amazing shift where in the US and abroad, as 27% of workers are now remote, we're really shifting towards this collective responsibility in the age of Aquarius. And I'm an Aquarius, so I'm all for that.
Understood. So when you talk about reintegration and you talk about reintegrating back into the United States from being abroad, when you talk about reintegration from our collective consciousness, how do you see the future of reintegration? How far can you fathom reintegration from a wellness perspective?
Yeah, feel free to add any follow-up questions. For me, I see from a wellness perspective that we are really valuing each other and we're valuing the longevity of our relationships in the workplace. And we're really valuing the process, right, of staying healthy, happy, and productive, as opposed to doing things for a short-term gain, right? And so that's why, whether it's kind of like, I look at wellness, Asa, kind of like weight loss. Is weight loss effective if you lose 20 pounds in 20 days, but you boomerang back? Which is what happens with a lot of programs, right? It's temporary weight loss, right? That's not what you do when you work with me. It's permanent weight loss, it's permanent change. And that happens when there is a personality change, right? Similarly, the same thing goes with wellness in businesses, right? When we have a culture change, or with a lot of the companies I'm working with, like with Lotus and Luna and Nordstrom, and with these other companies, Vuori Clothing, a lot of these companies have a fantastic culture, but we have new people joining the team since COVID is now officially over, right? So we're stepping back into the new normal, back into reintegration of seeing people in the stores, at your law offices, what have you. And so there may be elevated levels of stress. So it's about reintegrating these people who have been, in working in silos alone, isolated, into this now in-person, more interactive, more communicative and empathetic society, right? And you can create that empathy even if your entire team is sprinkled across the world, right? Now more than ever, that's incredibly important to create connection, right? That's something people are really desiring as we have moved into this online platform, which is beautiful, right? So many people now are moving abroad. They're no longer stuck in their city.
Very true. And you had mentioned before when you introduced yourself that you are an empath. And then you brought up just now, developing empathy for the corporate spaces that people occupy majorly. And I would love to sit there for a second. And the reason why is because there are individuals who feel that they too are empaths and that you cannot teach that, whether you are an empath or you are not. You are empathetic or you are not. It's something you're born with. I think about Maybelline. Maybe it's Maybelline. That's what I like. Maybe it's empathic. So the question I have for you now is, do you truly believe that the empathic ability and empathy can truly be developed into someone who has been, for the greater part of multiple decades, completely aloof to the empathic world and to empathy as a norm?
So of course, this depends on the person. In order for you to change and to step into a new personality, the first thing is you must desire to step into this new personality. It must come from within. If you're only developing this skill for a short-term gain, whether it is for an ad or it's for something else, of course, that will not create permanent change. But yes, absolutely, you can still learn these skills at an older age. In one of my other videos, I mentioned all of us were hypnotized between the ages of 2 and 6 years old. We were under theta waves, right? And so that's when we learned who we were. We learned about our skills. Now you can learn these skills later on, but it does take more work. It does take a consultant. It takes dedication, right? And that's why hypnosis, in terms of weight loss, and even in terms of mindset, it's 90% effective when done right? When it's done on the daily, when there's consistency. So yes, I am a strong believer in growth mindset. I applaud efforts rather than results that's shown to actually create even more impactful change, right? But also it's about like it depends on the person, right? There are people that it's going to be more challenging to step into that new personality, right? If they do desire to become empathetic, right? And there are people, if they have been unempathetic for decades for a lifetime, maybe they don't want to become empathetic. Maybe it's worked for them so far. And that for that person, that's great. Maybe they bring other skills to the team that could be utilized in a different way, right? Only about 20% of us are truly empaths. And so it's a superpower. So those of us that have those skills, we need to utilize it. And I'm all about coaching on strengths in the workplace and in your personal life beyond. All right.
Most definitely. So you said the first step to someone developing empathy at a high level was the desire. Because you gave us the first one. And so you can't just give us the first step without giving us the next step. So before we move on, I would love to know, how would you coach someone, whether corporate, whether personal, and they're like, I just don't feel that, I have a high level of empathy and I don't necessarily know what to do about that. And you're like, okay, so since you're coachable and I'm your coach, Luke, the first step is desire. So what would that next step be?
That's a really good question. So this is actually bringing me back to the schools, Asa, because empathy is something that we typically teach to students when they're in like elementary, middle school. Like it's a really basic skill that we like, of course, give examples and we practice with the kids. But I mean, in an adult setting, in a business setting, I can tell you at certain businesses, leadership have come to me and they've simply told me what you were mentioning. Like, we want staff to know that we as leaders care about them. We do not want to have, especially managers at a huge department store, quitting in the middle of the holiday season, right? Or it really creates a rift in the culture and it will cause a decrease in sales, all these bad things. So in those sorts of scenarios, it takes a collective shift, right, amongst the managers to all come together and support one another in growing empathy. And this happens through a wellness retreat. So this happens through us connecting with each other through different modalities. And as a certified counselor, yoga teacher, personal trainer, I have many to offer, right? And I always tell people it does start in your body. Healing happens in your body. So it happens with mindful movement. It can be stretches. It can't be yoga, but it can be other things too. But then number two, the mindset work, the actual authentic connection between you and your team, between you and yourself, right? So that includes such examples just off the top of my head are things like eye gazing and also journaling and also like getting in touch with that inner child within. Okay. And also like connecting with each other beyond just in that workplace, right? So it's about creating authentic connections and intersectionality, because we're in a very divisive time in our society, right? And it's really time to like celebrate our differences and also like see how we are all connected, how we are all one, be there for each other, especially when times get tough.
Totally.
So that goes deeper than that, but that's just the surface of it.
Understood. So I wrote down a couple of things while you were
Yeah.
giving that. And so let's start with the first thing I wrote down during your last exchange. And you talked about mindful movement. I have yet to hear that phrase, mindful movement. So what is that? I think I understand, just because I understand, mindfulness, I understand movement. But when you articulate that, when you offer that to the individuals and the companies that you serve, what does that actually look like?
Yeah, so physically right now, Asa, because we spend record-breaking hours per day on our phones in front of computers, we have something called kyphosis going on. So that, in other words, means that many people, especially young kids that you're seeing, have either hunched over, rolled shoulders to the front. This actually is the top thing that is going to negatively affect your mindset. It's going to increase your rates of depression, decrease your belief in self, decrease your confidence, right? So one mindful movement that you can simply do right now, if you're listening to this now, is to place your feet on the ground. This will ground you no matter what happens externally, especially if you take off your shoes. That's the best way to do it. If you can, some of us can, because we are working at home, right? And then roll your shoulders back, lift your heart up high, breathe in. and exhale. And just envision that twine is pulling your head to the sky. And a hack is to make believe that you are royalty. So stand as if you are balancing your crown on top of your head, right? That's just like a mindful way to improve your posture. Now we go deeper in my classes. I know those of you that are just listening might not be able to join us, but simply twisting side to side can really release tension in your spine. And then neck rolls is a big one too, that you can do even if you're in your, your suit, you're not in a yoga outfit, you don't have to go to downward dog. I know a lot of my clients can't do downward dog. They have a wrist injury or something of that nature. They can't do an inversion. That's okay. I work with clients that are in wheelchairs. We can work with what you can do, right? And a lot of it is in your upper body because of the screen time. So yeah, we go deeper into that when you work with me, like mindful movement customized to your body and your team, your needs.
That was good. I liked that. You've literally educated me on a couple of different things. Because number one, the word that you use, the phrase that you use about what is it that when you're hunched over, what's that called?
Kyphosis.
Hyphosis. I've
Kyphosis with
never
K.
heard that word. I've never heard that word. So as someone who adores words, why? Because words mean things. I am, yeah, the nerd in me just cartwheeled in my mind, and I'm writing that down. Hyphosis. Okay, nice word. So because this is iconic conversations, and we're going to delve in many different things, and the conversation can go all types of ways. I pick up on things and I'm like, okay, we have to go there, or I desire to go there. And something that you said was about when you are, you're lifting your chest and you're imagining this beam of light or even a rope tugging you higher, or think about yourself having a crown, think of yourself as royalty. So I desire to have the royal conversation with you about how we see ourselves and how we see others. This is what I mean. So it's not necessarily on you. It's something that I've been peeping, something I've been witnessing around me. And it might be because of the culture that I am. So this may be a culture conversation, but it might not. So what I've seen and what I've heard are many individuals saying things like, hey, king, hey, queen, um, things of that nature. Now, let me be very clear. When someone comes to me and like, hey, king, or you did that, king, or refers to me in a royal way, I am understanding the spirit behind what they're saying. So it's not, when someone says, hey, king to me, it's not my intention to to correct them or to make them feel bad about doing so. That's not my intention. However, because I am a self-proclaimed nerd, a blurred, if you will, um, I understand that royalty is literally based on a feudal system, a serfdom, if you will. And in order to be a king, in order to be a queen, someone somewhere has to serve you, because what is a king without a kingdom? What is a queen without a queendom? So I would love to know your take, not that it's wrong, not that it's right, but I would love to know your take on divinity versus royalty.
Divinity versus royalty. I love that. So
And I can ask, and I can offer more if you like, or you can go right in. Up to you.
I'd love to know what you mean. So you talked about royalty. What about divinity? Tell me your perspective on that.
Okay, so divinity came as a result of being a student of Neville Goddard, Abraham Hicks, let's see, the poet Rumi, Wayne Dyer, Ram Dass, those individuals. Even in Oklahoma City, there's a gentleman by the name of Jerome Braggs. Love these humans. And something that they articulated, saw, planted inside of me was the idea, the notion, the belief that we, not me, but we are literally God in drag, to quote RuPaul and a few others who have said the same thing. But we are God in drag. Like we are the manifestation of source in flesh form. So with that being said, divinity supersedes royalty because it is almost, it's like almost like a law, like we just are divine. But in the context of royalty, we may or may not be kings and queens in actual form that we may be representing in the moment. And so that's why I have an affinity for divinity rather than an affinity for royalty, and would love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I am a big fan of Neville Goddard, and I also agree being divine does not necessarily mean that you need to be royalty. And also I think that it's beautiful when we start to look at each other as fellow souls on this planet as opposed to different hierarchies. We are all souls, we are all the same people, right? And you know, at the 5D, there's no difference. So I have this belief in my life that I treat the person taking out the trash exactly the same as I treat the CEO, exactly the same as I treat the manager, what have you, right? And we are all a part of this system and all working. And when we work together, things get better, right? When we treat each other as humans, when we treat each other as assets, right? And that's why I work with companies that really believe in that and that truly treat their staff as divine, right? As someone that they desire to invest in. Even the artisans that make the jewelry for Lotus and Luna came and visited San Diego from Thailand. They flew them over. The two of the artists stayed with my CEO client in her house. I thought that was beautiful. And I met both of them, and they were so proud to make this jewelry by hand, you know, and use their craft, their divine craft. And I think that I 100% agree with you that you don't necessarily need to be of a certain class or a royalty in order to tap into your divine craft. If you make the product, if you sell it, if you market it, if you are the founder, director, like we all have this beautiful gift to give during our time on this planet. And really it's about when you do go deep into the mind and the body and the spirit, that's when you can really get in touch with your divine power. And as you may have seen in the books written by Joe Dispenza, some things written by Neville Goddard, prayer with the energy of love is scientifically proven to work. So, right, if your energy is loving, if your energy is good and you desire something, it's only a matter of time until it happens, as long as your actions are aligned, you're with the right mindset, people, what have you, you are divine, right? If your energy is negative, if it is hopeless, all these lower vibration energies, and you're surrounded by others at that similar vibration, that could be what is stopping you from getting to those desires, whether it is a healthy, happy, productive workforce, or it's something else, right? Like I'm working with clients one-on-one as well who are manifesting true love. You could meet your soulmate on the sidewalk right after this interview, but if your energy is not good, you're going to scare them away, even if they are a 10 out of 10 match. Okay. So that's why I like, yeah, getting in touch with that divine self, that pure self that is timeless. Your spirit is timeless.
So I love when you say that, um, making sure that you basically you check your energy, you check how you are seeing people so that you can be in alignment with the people who are meant to support you in what you are creating, what you are building in your life. I've said this before. I remember going to Georgia for an event. I was getting ready to get my nails done. As y'all know, I like black polish. I like white polish as well, because that's just me. And I remember looking for a nail salon near my hotel, and I wanted to enjoy. My desire was to enjoy the day, so I wanted to walk rather than getting an Uber or what have you. And I looked, was not able to see a particular salon, so I walked further. Had a wonderful time. Got a donut on the way. Love a sugar rush moment. Then I come back, and then when I come back, I notice that there's a nail salon directly across the street from the hotel. Did not see that. Did not see that when I went on my phone, looked on the map application. It was that particular nail salon was nowhere to be found. And I honestly believe that there's something about that nail salon that did not align with the energy I was giving. So I was not aligned with the energy that I could possibly co-create there. And that just goes to show you have to be intentional at all times until the point where your intention is normal. The frequency that you love, the frequency that you're on can completely support you day in and day out. So thank you for that. And you had mentioned about what prayer is. Prayer and love, according to Joe Dispenza and Neville Goddard, when you combine those things, there's a scientific evaluation or a scientific result that you can even see on that level. And with that, I would love to know what is Luke praying for these days?
I'm praying for bigger impact, helping more businesses, empowering more individuals to get healthy, loved, more healed, and successful and happy now. Right? I know my intention for this year has been happiness, health, appreciation, and also connecting with self, connecting with others. So I think in terms of prayer, I think the thing that makes me the happiest is really helping people come alive. When I got my numerology reading, I really realized this. I'm the Christ number. I'm an 1111. So like my biggest joy in life, Asa, is like when we are doing yoga, when we're doing a wellness workshop and people shift their mindset of self, tap into that source of love, when people really work on themselves and in turn want to help the world. So I feel like my impact comes through changing one body, mind, spirit at a time, and also having that collective change. So I think for me, I am praying for positivity and healing for all as we go through this shift in what is the new era, since we're entering a new era right now. This current era that right now we're in 2023 isn't really working, right? We're shifting, like I was saying, into this more collective era. And so like, I think like just having peace as we transition into this way of being and yeah, and calling in all those great things for yours truly, like calling in love, calling in success, health, happiness, and so much more. Serving as a light too to my queer youth out there and other non-queer people, right, that have also in their past struggled with issues related to self-love, health, wellness.
Understood. So there may be someone that's watching this and is either working at an organization and they're like, we could really use Luke's spirit around here. That would make a really big difference for us. Or there may be a CEO that's thinking, I'm so good about my sales, I'm so good about my marketing, my operations, my finance, but being able to incorporate wellness, be able to incorporate conversations around holisticness, conversations around ensuring that people at the baseline want to keep coming to work for me. And not just for me, but for all of those in the office because they feel the love here. They enjoy their time in the space that I've curated. And so whether they're the person within the corporation or the person that has built the corporation and they're thinking of working with you, what is the best way for them to reach out to you so that they can get that support quicker, sooner, and faster?
Yeah, I would say check out my website, lukeyogawellness.com. You can book a no strings attached consultation with me and just to learn more and authentically, of course, connect with me on social media, limitless_Luke, Instagram, Facebook. I'm also there. You can check out by my name. And also I have a free Facebook group, Mindfully Sculpted. So I'm out there, Asa. I'm very visible. So there's multiple ways, whatever works the best for you. I would say comment below, comment, DM me, like I'm I'm here for you. And I think that the best thing you can do is do something, right? When you've identified that, hey, this hasn't been working, or you know what, I plateaued. I know like there's a lot of people out there that have felt like, okay, what is stopping me from getting to my next level? And this typically, yes, it may be that energy piece, it may be the wellness piece, right? Because doing the same thing that worked in the past to get a new result isn't necessarily going to work, right? That's the definition of insanity. And especially now, right, where as we shift and we're starting to see that those old systems, they just don't work the same anymore, as people have come out of COVID and desire to feel appreciated and desire to have mental health, desire to have good energy at the workplace, right? And especially with younger generations, we are having record resignations going on, right? We're in the Great Resignation. Over 50 million people resigned last year from their jobs. And, I did an interview 2 weeks ago with someone who does similar work in Minnesota. And it's like, someone wrote in the comments, they were like, and they were a manager, they were a CEO. They were like, if we don't change things, we're not going to have any more workers pretty soon, right? Because so many people are leaving. And so now more than ever, it's not just a luxury, it's something that's required, like, to ensure the sustainability of the great work you do. So that's what I'm here for, helping you recruit and retain the best employees.
Awesome. So I desire that people that are building those corporations out there, I will offer this to you. So you may have a CSO, you may have a CMO, you may have a COO, you may have a CFO. However, please do not think it abnormal or think it somehow not available for you to also have a CWO, a Chief Wellness Officer inside of your organization. Why? Because wellness is important. There have been many different studies, much market research done about that line between wellness and profit. Like there is a direct line between wellness and profit, wellness and revenue. And that, if that is important to you, if you understand that, you may not be building a factory of sorts, like you actually do care about the people and not just the widget or, the sale, or any of those things that robots could do. Like you actually care about the person. If you do in fact care about the person, I am here to admonish you. Please reach out to Luke. The information for what Luke has to offer, his corporate wellness programs and such, are in the show notes for you to peruse, for you to take action on, because to have an icon conversation, there's another part to that, taking iconic action. So if we're having this, it's not just to say we had it, it's for you to feel free and to be knowledgeable about what iconic action you can take next. So that being said, Luke, thank you so much for coming on to Icon Conversations. What are some things that you would like to say to end this in a way that people can truly know that you are here for them? And let's just be honest, you are the best person for them to reach out to with wanting what they want.
So I just want to reiterate what Asa was saying, like definitely like reach out, okay? And done is better than perfect. So you taking some sort of action is better than waiting until either everything is perfect and everything's aligned to do it, or things get real bad real quick, right? So I'm here to help in that process in wellness and beyond. And as your chief wellness officer, I'm also offering an amazing corporate wellness audit where I actually go in as your consultant and do the research and find the areas of growth, the challenges, and also the strengths in terms of wellness, so that you can recruit and retain the best employees, have a happy and healthy, productive team. but also enjoy this process, right? Decrease stress, attract joy. And I think going back to my training, right? With me, you get it all, right? I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a personal trainer, also a lifestyle consultant. And I've worked with many companies, both online and in person on site at the beach. We got a big beach class coming up May 13th for Lotus and Luna, open to the public. So this is not only a great thing for your bottom line, since a study in 2014 showed that wellness programs actually improve your bottom line, have a return on investment by 300%. But it's also good for publicity, right? So it's a great way for you to show that your company cares about its employees, values wellness, and is here to stay. So I think really like you're seeing it over and over again. Once again, like working with Nordstrom, working with Lotus Luna, working with Lululemon, all these great companies that really value wellness. And so I just invite you to join the party and shoot me a DM, contact me, and connect, authentically connect. Follow me. I'd love to be here as a resource for you.
So Luke, thank you for that. As you heard, I'm going to say this again. Now, Luke, you said your event in San Diego is when again?
May 13th, 9 a.m. Location, it will be finalized this week, actually. And we will be giving away $10,000 in merchandise. So show up. It is a free event. And yeah, more information coming soon. And I'll be teaching yoga there. And also we'll be doing some wellness. We'll be doing some authentic connections, which people really, really value. And it will be on YouTube if you can't make it there in person on May 13th.
Very nice. And will you be able, if they connect with you, will you be able to support them in the continuing of that information? Just so we're completely clear.
Yeah. Connect with me so that you can find out where, when, and what's happening. And then more information, yes, like about the recording and about other amazing opportunities for us to collaborate.
Awesome. So you guys heard it from Luke, where you can see him in person, how you can reach out to make sure that your company is supported. Again, your company is supported in the wellness space. You have those links. If you're not able to catch that when he said it, go to the show notes. They are available for you right now. Go there, regardless of the podcast platform that you are listening from this or whatever streaming that you're listening to this, they are there. As always, Luke, thank you so much for coming on. For those of you all who are in Icon Nation, thank you for being a money cousin. Thank you for being just a part of all of this that is provided by House of Icons. For more information, go to www.houseoficons.co. I'm sure that there is an Icon Bootcamp coming up, so please go to www.iconbootcamp.co. And as always, I am Asa Leveaux, dreams and radical blessings.